The Grand Line's #2 pirate stood on a torn bounty poster. The number beneath his boot read 0. 3 Marine admirals with cracked golden halos, crumpled in disbelief. How could a man with no bounty command such power? 6 hours earlier, in a smoky tavern on the edge of the Grand Line, the same pirate was drowning his frustration.
2 years stuck at 800 million. The New World Gate stays closed while rookies die chasing it.
A drunken sailor whispered a rumor. A forbidden Marine NPC, hidden in the back alleys, who could erase a pirate's entire record.
Erase everything? Where can I find this ghost?
The rumor led him to a narrow alley behind the Marine outpost. Shadows twisted unnaturally, and a single green eye glowed in the darkness.
I heard you can make a man vanish. I want that. I want my record wiped clean.
Not vanish. Exchange, erase all you have earned, and what the world buried inside you will finally awaken.
Do it. Erase everything. I have nothing left to lose but an empty title.
The pact is made. When you wake, your name will be a ghost to every Marine scanner.
A cold shockwave pulsed through the alley. Across the sea, every wanted poster bearing Yamato's face ignited. The reformed poster fluttered down. In thick black letters it now read, Bounty, 0, aboard the pirate ship Blackfin. The crew gathered around the bounty board. Their captain's name had vanished.
0 berries? This isn't mercy. It's erasure. Without a bounty, we're just a ghost ship. That fool threw away 800 million and our name together. He better have a damn good explanation.
Yamato's small rowboat cut through the moonlit waves toward the Blackfin. He sensed the anger before he saw a single sail.
This lightness in my bones. It's like breathing for the first time. But the crew won't understand.
He climbed the rope ladder. The deck was a wall of hostile faces. The first mate blocked his path, clutching the 0 poster.
Explain this, Captain. Did the rum knock your sense overboard? You killed our reputation.
I traded it for something bigger than a bounty. You'll see when we reach the New World.
The New World? You'll never reach it as a 0. Crew, does a ghost captain still steer this ship?
The crew answered with a roar of rejection. They seized Yamato's sea chest and hurled it over the rail.
They can't feel it yet. The cage around them that I just shattered. But they will.
They forced him onto a wooden raft with nothing but the clothes on his back. The Blackfin's sails vanished into the fog.
You are no longer our captain, Yamato. Drift back to whatever hole you came from.
At Marine headquarters, a crisp announcement flashed across every screen. Yamato had been deleted from the threat registry. Status upgrade. Non-entity. 0 bounty confirmed. No further pursuit authorized.
Non-entity. Good. Let the ocean forget me. I'll remind it soon enough.
Alone on an endless dark sea, the ex-captain drifted into waters no Marine would ever patrol. And something inside him began to burn. A Marine patrol cutter pierced the fog, its searchlight trapping the raft like a spotlight on a stage. Unregistered vessel. You are in restricted waters. Surrender immediately, or we will open fire. Yamato didn't answer. He coiled his legs and launched from the raft, landing on the cutter's bow in a crouch. Marines raised rifles. 3 shots cracked the air, but Yamato's body blurred, each bullet grazing only ghostly after images.
This speed, I was never this fast before. The bounty was a limiter all along.
He surged forward, a whirlwind of fists and elbows. Enforcers dropped before their fingers could touch a second trigger. With one punch, he split the hull. The patrol cutter shattered like glass. The ocean swallowed the wreckage. Yamato stood on a floating plank, knuckles smoking, heart hammering with a freedom he'd never known. A surviving Marine clutched a wanted log scanner. He aimed it at Yamato's face. The screen flickered. No match.
The system can't even register me. That NPC was right. The bounty buried something monstrous.
Over the following days, Yamato became a phantom predator. Marine patrols vanished without a whisper. Their wreckage never logged. Each battle left him stronger, yet a cold pressure gnawed at his chest, as if the sea itself was a cage he still couldn't see.
Every ship I break, I feel it. Another layer of chains wrapped around the world. The bounty was just the first lock.
Drifting near a ruined outpost, he overheard two deserters whispering about a Princess Marine who had erased her bounty years ago. They lobotomized her, locked her in the old Marine base, said she saw inside the system.
Another who broke the chains, and they buried her alive for it. If she knows what's behind the cage, I need to find her.
He charted a course toward the abandoned Marine base, a black mark on the map where even pirates feared to anchor. The sea turned gray. An unnatural stillness gripped the air, the mark of something the Marines had tried to forget.
This silence, it's not empty. Something watches from below, the same weight that the bounty hid.
Beyond the fog, the silhouette of a crumbling fortress emerged, the base where Princess Marine Misaki was rumored to wait. Yamato tied his raft to a rusted mooring and climbed through the shattered gate. Inside, the air was thick with mildew and old blood.
Another step, and this rapier finds your heart. Are you Marine, or something worse?
I am the man who erased his bounty 6 hours ago, and I think we have the same cage in common.
Then you won't mind if I show you what they did to the last one.
The scar wasn't just a wound, it was a surgical trench. Marines had opened her skull to dig out the memory of what she'd become.
But you remember enough. Why stay here in this tomb?
Because the bounty was never the real cage. The gods built a prison from our own records, and I've been waiting for someone strong enough to help me burn it down.
Then, stop waiting. Come with me. Together we'll find whatever god is holding the key and break its spine.
I've dreamed of those words. Take me out of this grave, Yamato.
The raft slipped away from the crumbling fortress, two ghosts now bound to an impossible mission. Behind them, the base groaned and began to sink. That night, under a star-scattered sky, the raft drifted into calm waters. Misaki broke the silence with truths that rewired the world.
The bounty system was never human. Millennia ago, the gods engraved a suppression matrix into every child born with a true form. I was one.
True form? Sounds like a legend. What does it have to do with me?
You felt it when your bounty hit 0, didn't you? That surge inside your chest. The gods feared we'd surpass them, so they chained our potential to a number.
So my strength was siphoned into that bounty, and erasing it unlocked the first seal.
Misaki unfolded a weathered map, tracing a route to the edge of the Grand Line, where a gate marked with forbidden symbols waited.
The final trial god pirate guards the gate. Kill him, and the system collapses. That's the only way to free everyone.
Then we find him. I didn't come this far to stay half-caged.
They set a course into the unknown, two broken exiles, chasing a god-killing storm.
But if my hidden orders activate before then, Yamato, you might have to kill me first.
Dawn brought a blackening horizon and the thunder of cannon fire. A marine blockade coiled around the passage like a sea serpent.
They're not here for a ghost. This blockade is ancient, posted here long before we left the base. They guard the route to the gate.
Then I'll give them a reason to remember me.
He launched into the storm, body dissolving into a streak of blue-white light. Warships exploded before their cannons could track a target.
It's trying to break out the true form. I can barely hold it in.
Blinding wings of white-blue energy erupted from his back, scattering the storm clouds. His armor cracked further, core blazing like a small sun.
Such power. But when I look at it, my scar burns. I see flashes, a gold halo, a voice ordering me to what?
The fleet scattered, broken. Yamato dropped back onto the raft, panting, wings fading. Misaki was on her knees, nails dug into her temples.
Your scar, it's reacting to my power. What exactly did they put inside you?
Nothing I can't control. Just old wounds. We need to move before reinforcements arrive.
After 2 days of drifting, the raft scraped against a submerged jetty. Ancient temple ruins rose from the mist. their runes pulsing with forgotten light.
These glyphs predate the Marines. They describe a final trial, a gate guarded by a being the gods themselves feared would rebel. The trial god pirate is the lock on the cage. Every time a true form surfaced, he harvested its power to strengthen his own.
Yamato pressed his palm to the runes. A vision erupted. Ancient gods chaining a human form with bounty posters, feeding its light to a colossal shadow.
That shadow is your enemy. He has hoarded the stolen forms for millennia. You won't just fight a god, you'll fight every true form that ever existed.
Yamato turned and struck the temple wall with a fist of blue flame. For hours, he summoned and reabsorbed the blinding wings, shattering stone and boiling the air. Inside, his power made the runes blaze. Each time the wings erupted, chains of light flickered around his limbs, the system's last clinging threads.
You are tearing the sanctuary apart. If you lose control, the sea itself might swallow us.
But I am learning to hold it. The cage is weakening. Where's the gate from here?
Misaki pointed east. The sails rose again, and the ruins shrank behind them. Ahead lay the edge of the world. As the raft glided toward the monumental gate, a sharp hum cut through the air. A compact device hidden in Misaki's coat pulsed with golden light. A miniature hologram of a robed god flickered above her palm. Observer protocol active. Eliminate Yamato. The instant his true form breaches the final threshold. The implant along her scar ignited like a brand, searing pain down her spine. Her rapier hand jerked as if pulled by invisible strings.
So the lobotomy was never to treat me. It was to bury a kill switch. And now they're pulling the trigger.
Misaki, you look pale, and your scar's flickering like a warning flare. That's not just the gate.
The gate's energy. It's battering my old injury. Don't slow down for me.
She crushed the communicator in her fist, metal biting into skin. The compulsion receded, but it slithered in her bones, waiting for a moment of weakness.
I have to hold on. If I fail, the gods win. He's the only one who ever reached this far. I won't let them take him.
Before them, the stone behemoth groaned apart, ancient dust cascading into the abyss. A corridor of absolute darkness yawned.
End of the line. Whatever god killer hides in there, we're its death sentence. You with me?
The raft dissolved into blackness the moment they crossed the threshold. Between heartbeats, cold stone materialized beneath their feet, a vast arena of shadows and silence.
So the Zero Pirate dares to enter my trial, then face the ghost your bounty could never hide, the truth of what you truly are.
Yamato's world warped. He stood on the Blackfin's deck, his crew pelting him with rotten fruit, their mouths twisted in scorn. Zero. Worthless.
I gave everything for them. This is what I feared, that without my bounty, I am just a ghost. But I am still standing.
Misaki screamed as the lab materialized around her, the cold straps biting her wrists, the surgical arm gleaming above her temple. This is what you are, a weapon. A distorted voice hissed.
No, I am not their tool. I chose him, Yamato.
The illusions shattered like glass. Both collapsed to their knees, gasping in the cold arena air, hands finding each other in the dark. But as Misaki touched her temple, golden light bled through her fingers. The observer protocol, jolted by the trial, now clawed at her will with fresh intensity.
Misaki, your scar, it's burning brighter than ever. What aren't you telling me?
After we end this, trust me a little longer.
A throne of chained light descended from the vortex, carrying a colossus cloaked in shattered divinity. The final trial, God Pirate.
I am the cage you felt your whole life, every bounty, every suppression, my design to keep your kind from ever remembering what you were.
Yamato whirled himself forward, blue-white energy screaming from his fists. The God Pirate raised a single finger and stopped the blow with a wall of static force.
Adorable. You traded your leash for a flicker of power, and you think you can challenge a god who has harvested 1,000 true forms?
Misaki flanked from the shadows, her rapier driving toward his spine. But the god's halo flared, and a whip of light lashed her across the arena.
And the failed observer. Your skull still holds my master's words. Kill the true form bearer. Yet you fight beside him. How deliciously broken.
Yamato dragged himself from the rubble, chest plate cracking wider. His core bled light through the fissures as he locked eyes with the Colossus.
You talk too much for a relic. If 1,000 forms couldn't satisfy you, maybe the one that broke the cage will be your last meal.
The god pirate laughed, and the arena trembled. 4 arms raised 4 weapons, each blazing with the stolen fire of extinct true forms.
Yamato, he's gathering everything. If that storm hits...
Yamato ripped the cage open. Full wings of white-blue fire erupted, and his shattered chest plate flaked away, bearing the pulsing core like a second heart.
No more holding back. If this form burns me out, I'll drag him into the ashes.
He crashed through the weapon storm, a comet of liberated fury. A forearm drove into the god pirate's shoulder, and for the first time, divine ichor bled.
A wound. You've earned my full attention, insect. But while you bleed for victory, your precious observer answers a higher call.
A lance of golden thought speared into Misaki's scar. Her limbs locked as if struck by lightning, and a cold obedience washed her eyes pale.
My body. He's speaking inside my skull. The protocol is a chain around every muscle. I can't stop it.
Her own hand betrayed her. The rapier rose, its point aligning with Yamato's turned back. A final prayer escaped her lips as her iris flooded gold.
Yamato, behind you. I can't hold.
Yamato spun. The rapier tip hung inches from his glowing core. The god pirate's laughter filled the dark arena, savoring the perfect trap.
The observer fulfills her purpose. Strike Misaki and prove that humans are forever tools of the divine.
I will not be their puppet. My blade is mine, and it will follow only my will.
With a scream that shredded the gold from her eyes, Misaki twisted the rapier away from Yamato and drove it deep into her own shoulder. She collapsed, the rapier clattering away. Yamato caught her before she hit the cold stone, her blood searing against his cracked armor.
I was their observer, sent to euthanize you the moment your true form appeared. But I chose you over the gods. Now leave me and end this. Run, Yamato. I am already dead. Don't let them cage another true form. Kill that monster for everyone.
A suicide? How pathetically human. But the observer's purpose ends with exposure. Now you face me alone. Zero pirate.
She bled herself to save me, and those gods carved her into a weapon. This whole world is a slaughterhouse for their fear.
Yamato gently laid Misaki down, his fingers leaving smears of her blood on the stone. When he rose, the arena itself seemed to shrink from his presence.
You wanted my true form? You'll drown in it.
Come then, little force of nature. I've devoured 1,000 of your kind. You'll make a fine dessert.
The god pirate's laughter ricocheted off the stone, but Yamato didn't flinch. His gaze had fallen to Misaki, bleeding but still clinging to consciousness.
Why? Are you still here? I told you to go? I am just a weapon they planted.
Yamato ignored her words. He knelt, sliding one arm beneath her shoulders, the other under her knees, and rose.
You are not a weapon. You are the only person who ever chose to stand beside me. We finish this together, or not at all.
As their fingers laced, Misaki's violet aura flickered and entwined with Yamato's white-blue blaze. The arena shuddered, not from the god's power, but from theirs.
What foolishness is this? Combining with a dying observer only dilutes your strength. I'll end you both now.
The god pirate hurled a storm of stolen true form energy, a cascade of corrupted colors. Yamato stepped in front of Misaki, his wings forming a shield.
I can still fight. Let me strike with you. My rapier can cut through his halo's bindings.
Then we carve a path straight through his stolen forms, together.
The two hurtled forward, blue-white and violet light, merging into a single blade of will. The god pirate braced, but for the first time, uncertainty flickered across his shadowed face. The merged blade of will struck the god pirate's barrier and tore through. Ancient divinity screamed as one of his forearms shattered at the elbow, golden ichor raining down.
Wretches, I am the final lock appointed by the gods. Witness the ultimate form that has devoured 1,000 true forms before yours.
A sphere of absolute blackness formed above his head, drinking all light, his flesh bloated with stolen power, his halo fracturing into a crown of jagged light. The arena floor cratered. Yamato grabbed Misaki and launched sideways as a tendril of black lightning carved a canyon where they'd stood. Dust and golden ichor choked the air.
His core flashes when he attacks. I can hit it with my rapier, plant a volatile charge that'll stagger him. Then you finish it.
Before Yamato could protest, Misaki sprinted along a fallen pillar and leaped. Her rapier plunged deep into the god pirate's shoulder joint, the orb detonating in a burst of violet fire. The god pirate's howl shook the arena. His swat sent Misaki crashing into the far wall, stone cracking around her. Yet her eyes stayed fixed on Yamato, fierce and unbroken.
She gave everything for this one chance. I won't waste it. All my power into a single point. This ends now.
Yamato's wings stretched to their full span, his core a miniature sun. The god pirate, seeing his end, hurled the black sphere with a desperate roar. Yamato dove into the abyss, a needle of light. The two forces collided. Light and dark screamed against each other, blasting shockwaves that toppled pillars and sent Misaki's hair whipping. For a heartbeat, the outcome hung in blinding silence. The white silence shattered. Yamato hung in the air, wings tattered, but his core blazed steady, alive. Below, the god pirate crunched onto one knee, his black sphere scattered into embers. Across the broken floor, Misaki clawed her way onto a tilted pillar. Her scar threw off golden arcs like a severed power line, and her eyes finally read the truth beneath the pain.
This implant, it's not just a leash. It's the final thread binding the god's authority to this cage. If I burn it out of me...
Before reason could stop her, she drove a shard of broken rapier into her own temple. A shock of gold and violet erupted, and the implant exploded outward in a spray of divine circuitry.
No. That is the direct channel to the divine will. Without it...
His halo fractured completely, chunks crashing down like a fallen crown. The divinity that fed him for millennia, severed in a single human act of defiance.
Yamato, now, the cage is unlocked. Finish it before the gods can rethread the gap.
She tore out the last chain. Every ounce of pain she felt, I'll carve back into that false god's memory.
Yamato's entire true form compressed into a single clenched fist, a dense star of unshackled fury. He hurled himself at the crippled god, the air wailing behind him. The god pirate raised a trembling palm, a thin shield of dying gold sputtering to life. Yamato's fist hung an inch from the god's core, the pressure alone cracking reality around them. The shield of dying gold shattered like a mirror. Yamato's fist, blazing with the condensed fury of a liberated true form, buried itself in the god's core. The god pirate's halo burst from his head in a soundless scream, fragments raining as his forearms went limp. The cage's final lock shattered. Divine flesh cracked like ancient plaster. The god pirate crumbled onto his knees, his remaining eyes wide with the disbelief of a god meeting mortality.
1,000 stolen forms couldn't save you from one that finally broke free.
Impossibly. I was eternal.
His form disintegrated into a pillar of liberated light, the stolen true forms erupting in a storm of colors, now freed after millennia. Yamato stood in the eye of that storm, his wings retracting, the white-blue core settling to a gentle pulse. The god was dead, But the arena, sustained by the god's will, began to scream. Pillars tilted, the stone floor cracked, and the vortex above collapsed inward. Yamato turned. Misaki lay among the rubble, bleeding but watching, a faint smile on her lips through the pain. He scooped her into his arms as the ground split open. There was no time to celebrate, only to survive the falling sky. Across the Grand Line, nailed-up posters ignited in spontaneous blue flame. Bounty boards became torches, the numbers curling to ash in Marine headquarters. Tracking screens flickered and died. The bounty logs erased themselves line by line, a millennia-old ledger turning blank. In a realm of false clouds, 3 robed admirals felt the divine siphon sever. Their golden halos spiderwebbed with cracks, then shattered in unison.
The cage, gone. Without it, the mortals will remember what they are. We are undone.
Meanwhile, the stone corridor became a death trap. Yamato leaped over widening fissures, Misaki's blood warm against his chest.
Yamato. The light. We're almost there.
They burst out through the gate's archway as it collapsed into a pile of ancient rubble. The new world's edge became a tombstone. The sky itself seemed to exhale. Digital-like cracks spread across the heavens, and every remaining bounty record winked out of existence. On a marine flagship, a wanted log scanner sparked and died in a navigator's hand. For the first time in history, the seas were unregistered. Yamato waded into the shallows and laid Misaki on a strip of pale sand. Behind them, the ruined gate was silent. Ahead, a new horizon waited. Yamato tore a long strip from his fractured chest plate and pressed it tight to the gash in Misaki's shoulder. The white sand beneath her drank the seeping blood.
Yamato. The god. Is it dead?
Dead and gone. Every bounty poster in the Grand Line burned at once. The cage that held humanity is dust. But the cowards who forged it are still cowering in their clouds. I am going to find every last one and smash their halos. When you can stand again.
Then I'll learn to stand quickly. It feels strange, doesn't it? Having a choice.
Yamato slid an arm around her waist and eased her upright. She wobbled, then pressed her good shoulder against his side.
Good, because I'll need that rapier. We've got a long path ahead.
No more hidden orders. No more erased memories. I am with you until the end of it.
They began to walk along the shoreline, the shattered gate just a silent silhouette behind them. The sun climbed higher, flooding the empty sea with light. For the first time in millennia, the ocean was unregistered. In smoky taverns from Logtown to Sabaody, pirates stared at blank walls where their names once carried a price. Marine control rooms grew quiet. The screens that tracked every wanted soul showed only static. Across the Grand Line, ordinary men and women felt an invisible weight lift from their shoulders. The sky itself seemed to breathe freely for the first time in 1,000 years. A pirate captain stared at his hands, wondering what he was without the number that had defined him. In Marine headquarters, admirals scrambled to understand a world where their divine authority had eroded. But on the docks, the old fear was replaced by something unfamiliar: hope. Flickering like a candle in the wind, a new type of notice appeared on the boards. No bounty, just a symbol. Unknown hero. Future histories would call it the day the bounty system fell, the hour humanity broke its chain, and the Grand Line for the first time was a sea of possibilities. Their hands joined without a word, fingers interlacing like a promise sealed in salt and light. The white sand stretched ahead, silent under the climbing sun, untouched by any shadow. Misaki's scar, once a fiery brand, now a faint silver thread catching the morning glow. Yamato's core pulsed beneath his cracked armor, no longer a weapon but a steady heartbeat. They walked toward the light, the crumbled gate shrinking behind them into the sea. For the first time, no bounty stalked them. No divine eye scanned their path. The sea rolled in, clean and endless, unmarked by any ledger, unbound by any law but the tide. The world exhaled, shaking off millennia of chains, and the sky glowed with tender gold. Two ghosts had become two people, and the horizon was a promise they now could keep. And the Grand Line held its breath as the sun rose on a sea of endless morning.